One of the things you might have to fix when you buy a property, especially a farm, is a new pump for the well. The pump, of course, is at the bottom of the well. In our case, the well was 80 feet deep, and it reaches down there with a cable. You can have someone do this for you, or you can do it yourself. This kind of pump we purchased had very good instructions, and we did it, and it took about a half hour. Most likely, whatever property you're considering, the electricity and the water will not be turned on. So that's something you will not know until after you start fixing it up, after you move in. There are many things you can do before you go look at a property because you don't want to waste time. Well, some of the things are go to online to the crime map, to the elevation map, to the sinkhole map, because there might be something so very wrong with the property you don't even want to spend 30 minutes to bother driving by and looking at it. Recently I was looking at a property about a half hour from here, and it looked so nice online. I liked the area, I liked the price, it looked really nice and challenging for me to fix up. But I went to the crime map, and there were 3 crimes on the map, not just nearby, but occurred right there in that house. One was a burglary, and 2 of them were shootings. So I didn't even bother driving by because that's just what they call a deal breaker. Another thing is you don't want to spend too much time researching. Another recent mistake I made was researching a property and making all kinds of calculations before I drove by. I think I spent about 2 weeks. I had lists and explanations and all kinds of plans. So when I drove by there, the whole neighborhood looked very different, and so did the property from what it looked online. You know, they take pictures in a certain way to make the length and the width of the property look larger than what it is. It looked like miniature when I went there. There was a neighbor in his workshop, and when I drove up, I didn't even get out of my truck. He was just staring at me with such a mean look on his face. I mean, why didn't he say, "Can I help you, ma'am? Are you lost? Are you here to look at the property?" He just kept staring. And there was no one else even walking a dog or sitting out in the yard or working in their garden. And everything was closed up tight in all the other homes there. They were mobile homes. In fact, there was a store a few blocks from there, a small grocery store, and I read in the paper afterwards that the store's closing up. Where do these people buy groceries? So I wasted my time going there. I should have checked a lot of things, and it's a good thing I didn't spend too much time researching because it was a hopeless property to buy anyway. Anyway, there are a lot of extra things you could do after you've driven by, after all your research was working out well. You can actually go to the courthouse and look at the microfilm and see what the legal history of the property is. It's good to be prepared. A lot of things a closing company will do, but if you know what you're doing, you can check them when they're helping you close the property, the sale, because they don't always do everything completely right. Another good thing is to get a survey on the property. The residence handywoman special that I'm living in right now, my neighbor has the tip of their roof of their laundry room right exactly on the property line. It's too close. It's supposed to be 8 feet away. But since their house is more than 25 years old, the local authorities are not going to do anything about this zoning problem. They're just going to leave it that way. This means I can hear everything they say when they're yelling and arguing with each other, which it's okay. I keep a secret. I don't gossip. But that's one thing. If I had really looked carefully at the survey, I would have known this, and maybe I would have changed my mind about the property. So there's so many things you could do to be prepared. And of course, remember, you must go there. There are companies that buy up whole blocks of houses that are foreclosed on because they figure, well, they're going to make money on a few of them. But when we're planning to live in the house, there's things we have to know. What I like to do is, besides driving by a house, maybe walking around the yard, I like to ask neighbors and say, I'm thinking of living here. What is it like in this neighborhood? Is it noisy? Are the neighbors nice? And also, you want to, if you're there in person, you can actually, there are things you can smell. What if it's a place that 1 mile away is the garbage dump where they're burning trash 6 days a week, and you can smell it when the wind's blowing a certain way? You might not want to live there. Fresh air might be important to you. So there's a lot of things to think about. And if this interests you, if it's challenging, if it's fun, if it's something you think you can do, then don't hesitate. Just start small and start slow.